Hey everyone, it's Jeannie here. Today I am joined by Brian and Jen Johnson from the popular worship movement, Bethel Music. I'm a big fan. I'm a worship leader. I've worshiped to your music for so many years, but now you have a new album, Come Up Here. Thank you guys for joining me.
Thanks for having
us. Good to be here.
Yeah, so I don't want to be insensitive, but I want to start out with this because people are probably wondering. We know that you guys had a major loss recently. The matriarch of your ministry, of your family, is no longer with us. How are you guys doing?
We're good. We're doing good. I feel like, obviously, if we didn't believe in heaven and believe what we're here for, it would be obviously much worse. It's still very tough. It's the practicals of it, going over to my dad's house and, he's alone. It's hard, but I feel like everyone's handling it kind of as good as they can, so.
Yeah, well, we were all praying with you guys, and we will continue to pray, especially for your dad.
Thank you.
But
yeah, thank you.
We, like you said, we have a hope, and it's beautiful that we will be with her at one day in heaven. Amen.
Yeah.
So let's talk Come Up Here. I was listening to the album today. I did get a little sneak peek, and it's just so good. It's so beautiful,
Awesome.
so wonderful. Before I kind of spill it all out there, I want to hear from you guys. Talk about Come Up Here.
It was her idea, the album, the concept was her idea. So why don't you?
Yeah, we have wanted to do something. The where it was filmed is actually my family's property that I grew up on as a little girl, and
it's stunning.
That
place is stunning.
Yeah, it's in Northern California, and they have hundreds of acres. They're in the logging industry, so but it's just such a special place. And so when we started to do the album Dreaming, Revelation 4 kept coming up. Revelation 4 says, "Come up here and I will show you what's next, or what's to happen next." And really kind of was God speaking to me in a time of 2020, which so much division and opinion being thrown around like wildfire, and COVID, and it was just really a lot of chaos with opinion, and hard to find facts, in the day and age we live in. On a lot. So the Lord just spoke to me so clearly. I don't want your opinion. I want my opinion. And Revelation 4, come up here, ascend the hill of the Lord. Many times throughout the Bible, we see these mountaintop experiences where people go up to a mountain and they encounter God and they come back. And so just even going up to that property, it is up a mountain into the redwood forest, and just being in nature, worshiping God, singing Holy Forever, singing these songs like in awe and wonder and reverence. When you are in nature, looking up at the stars, surrounded by these trees, where you feel small, and not insignificant small, but just that God is so much bigger than kind of anything going on in our lives. It was an incredible project to be a part of. The songs are so strong and beautiful for the church, and kind of songs that are themed around what we would sing in heaven, in a big way. So we're pretty proud of it.
That's awesome. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. So the only thing I look up, I'm in Orlando now, so that's good. But back when I was growing up, the only thing I looked up to was skyscrapers. But that's amazing. I saw in the video that you guys premiered the big, beautiful trees, the sky view version. Oh my gosh, it was just it was beautiful. And I thought that I said, as a worship leader, I saw you guys standing in the middle of this forest. It really must have been a spiritual experience to just kind of be there. Can you kind of talk a little bit about that, like how God met you in that forest?
Yeah, I think that especially for creatives or for artists, being in nature is so important, being connected to it. I mean, even as a songwriter, I know for me, if I'm somewhere inspiring that has nature all around it, I am so much more inspired than if I'm in a city or a hotel room or an office, because it connects you to God in creation, right? Obviously, all throughout God's word is creation, 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 from Genesis to Revelation. So I think that it really is special to have that in the redwoods, in the forest, to have these songs, and just to be with our team. The other cool thing about redwoods is that their root system of the actual trees underneath the ground interlock. And it's how they weather the storms. And it's a really profound picture of community as well, which is a huge part of not just writing great songs or, you know, leading worship, but we really care about our people and our team and our the global worship community, even at large. And so just that picture of like, you know, those redwood trees is such a profound thing that's really connected to kind of the heart of this project, community, and then who God is, and that eternal heavenly song.
That's powerful. That is something that's really, it shouldn't be unique to you guys, but it is, because I think all of us should kind of be connected that way. You guys are very tight knit. You can feel the connectivity, the way you support each other, the way you pray for each other. You know, there's been times in the past where you do calls for prayer, and just the way y'all all show up is so powerful. So that's definitely a beautiful picture of Bethel, I'd say. I know that the album, this is yours. You had 17 worship albums leading up to this.
Is that how many?
We honestly don't even know. We just keep going. We just keep going. We're like, what are we doing next? Let's go.
That's amazing. But I read that you guys said that this one is unlike albums that you've done in the past. Can you kind of unpack that a little bit?
Yeah, I think the project itself, it feels very true to who we are in a big way, because these songs are really corporate songs, and we can hear the church singing them around the world, you know, and Bethel means house of God. And that's really at our core, you know, our bread and butter, and what we believe in is the church. And the Bible says those who are planted in the house of the Lord flourish. So I think that's a huge part of this album, is having just songs for the church. But yeah, what do you think?
I think that the obvious would be the production and the video, the visual, like the thing that makes it stand out. Because I mean, like you were saying, the redwoods and the way it's recorded, like I feel like that hasn't been done before. It was a huge undertaking. The team,
that's what I was
like,
thinking. How in the world did you get all that production going
the
in the forest?
The team was there a week ahead of time. It was raining nonstop, muddy mess. It was just a nightmare. And then the 2 days we recorded, 2 or 3 days recorded, it was sunny. So it's like a miracle almost, you know.
Yes. Wow.
So I think that just the whole thing is so different than anything that we've done. And I do love, and I said this in some of the other interviews that we've been on, but in life, you know, you try on for size every heart posture, and then you get to the point where you realize none of that works. The only thing that works is like turning everything in life, whether good or bad or whatever, into that heart posture of trust and praise. You know, there's no such thing as fake praise, because if you're actually going through stuff and you sing a praise song, like that's intense. That's faith. That's faith, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like our group, you know, has been through so much. I think the world's been through so much. And I think the returning, not that it's not like a returning we were off, but returning to those songs that are just vertical.
Yeah.
The beauty of God. You know, Janet sings a song, Holy Forever, where the pre-chorus is, all thrones and dominions, all powers and positions, your name stands above them all. And just the rightful place of who he is in whether it's political climate, cultural climate, the craziness that's going on in the world. His name stands above it all. So why should we focus most of our energy and time on trying to somehow solve the equations of all the problems by processing, instead of just going, all right, Lord, tried that, didn't work. Let's go back to just praise. And what better setting, honestly, than being in the redwoods. And it's like the Ewoks. Like we watch it. What is it?
Star Wars.
It's actually where they recorded.
Really close to
where they recorded the Ewoks, in the redwoods.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I love that y'all did this that way. Definitely, you're setting a standard. So everyone is like, we're gonna have to, you know, figure out another place in nature to this. It was just beautiful.
Good luck finding a redwood forest, because everyone owns them.
We did years ago. We did a project up on a mountaintop called
We Will Not Be Shaken.
We Will Not Be Shaken. And it's kind of just up on this mountain, and it was so beautiful. And so this project was kind of birthed out of wanting to do something like that again, because being in nature, even our brand Bethel Music is very nature. We're outdoorsy. We love the outdoors and community and fire. And So as you'll kind of see this project unravel, you'll see a lot of the glimpses of our community, all of us around a campfire out on that property doing our devotions. And, you know, it's really special, I think, for us because we are outdoors people. So to record projects outside for us is like,
yeah, that's amazing. Right. So yeah, you're gonna make some of us jealous because we don't have that in our backyard, huh?
Come visit.
Let me ask you this though, in that vein, you know, so first I'd say this, just listening to the music, it's very anointed, you know, God breathed. I know some people, even Christians, don't even know what that means, but you know, when you have time in the presence of the Lord, you know, when you feel his presence, you know, when something is breathed on by God. How do you encourage listeners to cultivate that? Where Bethel is very good at cultivating the presence of God, inviting the presence of God. And then, you know, I can tangibly feel that in the music. How do you encourage listeners to do that? Maybe somebody who is going to watch this who doesn't even know how to do that or what that means. How do you do that?
You know, we really view worship as a lifestyle. And, you know, not even that it's connected to music, even. I think when you think of worship, most people think music, but we have a saying with our group that worship's a lifestyle. It's every part of our life. It's how we love our spouse and our children and how we love the church and how we go about our dates and our attitude. And kind of, there's a quote that one of our team just latched on 2 years ago that said, whether I'm leading worship for thousands or, you know, changing our baby's diaper, like it's all the same.
The pay is the same.
Yeah. And really that it's a heart posture of worship. And so I think that as far as entering in corporate worship, or in private for that matter, I think the Bible's super clear about entering the gates with thanksgiving, just telling God what you're thankful for. It's that simple. How do I start to worship? How do I pray? What are you thankful for? Start there. It's a launch pad into the presence of God and telling God who he is, you know, and being honest with God. God is our Father. He is loving. He wants to be connected to us, and he wants to know what's going on in your day, and just talking to him normally, thanking him, telling him who he is, reading the word, staying connected to the Bible, being plugged into a local church that you're sowing into and receiving from. So I think there's a lot to it, but it really is about your lifestyle, your whole life before God, as the Message Bible says. You're going and coming, all that.
A friend of ours, Don Potter, was with the Morning Star Ministries back in the day. He wrote the song "Show Me Your Face," which we've done a lot. He had a season in life where he calls it "Facing the Wall," and it's that David season with the sheep, you know, in his heart, just practicing and whatever that looks like, to like getting alone with God. And I do think God, you know, chooses individuals who have an anointing, have a special gift to play. Like David played over Saul, and it says the evil spirits were driven from him just by him playing the Zamar worship, just playing an instrument. But I think some of that is just, you know, some of that is just cultivated the history with God. And Don Potter came out of that season facing the wall a different person in his life and also on his instrument. And I'm not saying to go face the wall for 4 years or whatever, but
maybe
there's something about I think God looks at that and goes, this guy's trusting me. This is crazy faith. This is amazing. It's like, you see it in the Bible where God's like, I haven't seen faith like this ever. Wow, this is amazing. Go be healed. Like, I think there's those moments in our lives that we make these decisions like, all right, Lord, your presence above all else. What does that look like in worship? Well, maybe it looks like digging into your set list. Maybe it looks like the Selah moments where you're like, okay, the song's coming down. I'm just going to hold that one chord, and I'm just going to like encourage people, you know, just turn this moment into we're just going to play this chord. Just turn this moment into like just singing your own song, whatever's going on in your life. Just like David did, sing it to God. And I think in those moments when you go into like the Selah prophetic moments where people are actually singing their heart to God, those are the moments where like all the stuff starts to kind of happen, because we push cruise control a lot of times when we're just going through the motions, and it's not bad, but it doesn't leave a lot of room sometimes for the real honest heart song to be sung. And so there's just a little tip, you know.
Yeah, that was encouraging. Thank you guys. Really, it's amazing. There's some things that I need to readjust to myself too. I've been feeling that, you know, 2020 3 started off a little rough for me, and I found myself kind of maybe not being thankful for all the things that I do have and just being a little bit focused on what's going on. So thanks for that encouragement.
Yeah, we feel you in that. I think even just getting up every morning for us in the morning, like to do our devotions together, we try to get up every morning at like 6, and even just for 30 minutes, just to sit together and read our Bible and drink our coffee. And I mean, it sounds so simple and so obvious, but life is so full on. We have 100 kids, and it's a zoo. And, but if we have the simple practices, man, I feel like our days just are entirely different. We're more focused and centered and hearing God and kind of starting that. So I would just encourage everybody who's listening today, just make that devotional time a priority in your life. And if it's getting up, or if it's going to bed at night, or putting your phone down, really just to be intense and protect your joy and your peace and your connection to the Lord, because this right here is a lot. So
yeah. I want to end with this. It's probably an annoying question, but I want to ask because people are obsessed with finding things about Bethel that are not, that they feel are not good, right? Talk about, like, how do you respond to that? And how do you just continue to do what you do? I mean, I listen to your music. I know what you guys stand for, what you're talking about. I feel the presence of God. But there are people that are really obsessed with just tearing Bethel down. How do you kind of hit back on that and just do what God has called you to do regardless?
Well, I think first thing is like the simple fact of like, that's what the problem with social media is. Like, remember when Twitter came out, you had 140 characters to somehow communicate an entire subject.
Yeah.
And it never worked, right? Never. It's like kind of like that with YouTube. Like they take a 5-minute snippet of something that's a thought, a question from a leader he's processing on stage, and then people just go, they believe this, and it's like, no. He's posing a question, and the last 15 minutes is him answering that. Right. So it's like the sound bites of all, and then the collaboration of looking for all the stuff. And the truth is, though, is like, yeah, there's some stuff that's crazy. Like crazy people come to our church. Yeah, it's true. We have conferences. Like, whoa. Yeah. But everyone's in a process. Everyone's on a journey. And it's like, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And my dad's very gracious with people, with human kind that are just
we
like,
need it.
Yeah. So you get used to, you kind of get used to it.
I love,
but for me, and then for me personally, I've done this with social media, with everything. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what people are saying. You know what I'm saying?
Good.
I follow kids, and we're doing our head down. We're doing our thing, and like the rest is like noise. And what's funny about the noise is like after someone says something a week later, it's gone. No one cares. It's like, So go ahead.
Yeah, I think that like water off a duck's back in a big way. At the end of the day, the people who are on staff at Bethel are very good people. Mm-hmm. But what I love about the culture is this, that we're okay with practicing. And I think that we're okay with being vulnerable and talking and not having a polished thing, but being honest and vulnerable in what we're doing and saying and singing and risking. And that comes with, messing up. Mm-hmm. If you're not willing to, if you want to be perfect you're going to control God right out of the situation. But risking and being vulnerable, I think, not only in leading worship or playing an instrument, but also in life is huge. And something that I appreciate about the culture of Bethel is, people have said weird things. People on staff have said weird things. We've said weird things. What human on the planet hasn't? It just gets cut and pasted, Sure. But the hearts are really beautiful. And they have a practice of a culture of practice, which I really appreciate. We have a school of ministry. They are practicing using the gifts of the Spirit. They are practicing, they are learning, they are students. And I think people need to be reminded of that, there's some crazy stuff, but Bill says it best. In a barn, there's a lot of animals and we got
a lot of life, but where there's life, there's messes.
Yeah, there's birth and poop and
proverbs.
So we got a lot of production and work and good stuff, but it is really, that's the concept for us, is there's order in a graveyard, but a garden is wild, right? And it's being pruned. And that's how Jesus started the whole Bible, is in a garden. And we want growth and life and health, and you got to pull some weeds sometimes, but we'll take that all day, any day over a, dead, controlled environment of cookie cutter. We want the presence of God in life.
Yeah, and that's evident, and that's why thousands of people are resonating with what you guys do, even, not just in your church where you are located in California, but all over the world. So thank you guys so much. Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
I don't know.
I don't know. I think we're good.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for being
Thank
so open and
you.
honest. And I pray that the Lord will use this because it's anointed already, but I pray that he will use it to really minister to others.